At the end of 2012, when part of humanity awaited the end of the world, we had the good fortune to be able to initiate a new era for MMS. Coincidence, or perhaps luck, allowed us a collaborative study with the Red Cross in Uganda, where we were allowed to administer MMS to patients at a clinic in Luka for 4 days. The Red Cross was interested to find out if MMS had any positive impact on the health of their people, and in particular, they wanted to find out if it could cure malaria. This pilot project involved weeks of intensive planning, including many details for each step in the process. Organizing something in Africa requires a lot of creativity while being prepared for just about anything. For example, we didn't know how many patients would participate in the study, so we could leave nothing to chance. Here you see the many people with health problems who arrived on the very first day, awaiting treatment. Before test subjects were treated, their name and other data were carefully documented on paper and also logged in the computer. They then received an initial examination by the doctor to determine their symptoms and record the diagnosis on their patient form. Each subject was given a malaria test that quickly revealed whether they were infected with the disease. Each malaria test was numbered, and that number was recorded on the subject's patient form. If the indicator was blank, then the test subject was not infected with malaria. However, if the indicator showed a red line, as shown here, then the subject was indeed suffering from malaria. In this example, you see 2 red lines. This means the test subject is suffering from 2 different strains of malaria. This is rather common, especially considering there are 5 different varieties of malaria. Based on the number of people waiting their turn to enter the lab, we can visually see how many were suffering from malaria. Those subjects who test positive for malaria are sent to the lab, where they receive a second blood test to count the number of malarial parasites under the microscope and thereby determine how sick the patient is.
I want to treat the kid.
The lab kept a separate record book that will be used to evaluate the subsequent results. Test subjects who did not suffer from malaria, in other words, the malaria test was negative, went to the nurse who performed a second thorough examination. Once the nurse was finished, the test subjects were sent to a table where the MMS, also known as water disinfectant, was administered. Each test subject was given the appropriate MMS dose. Adults with malaria received 18 drops of MMS. Adults who were malaria negative received only 8 drops. Children with malaria received 8 drops as well, and children who were malaria negative received only 6 drops. All babies with or without malaria received 2 drops. The MMS was activated with a 35% citric acid solution. After 20 seconds of activation time, a half cup of water was added to the solution. Naturally, babies received less because they can't drink as much. At the end, everyone received a bottle of mineral water to help flush out the pathogens after treatment. Test subjects who received malaria treatment had to return the next day for a second blood test to determine if the MMS treatment had worked or not. Here we see a photo from the second day showing the patient's documentation after the subject received the second blood test confirming they no longer had malaria parasites in the blood. In other words, they were healthy and no longer had malaria. The lab workers signed the patient's documentation confirming that the malaria was cured. The clinic was located in the Luka district, a rural area about 3/4 of an hour's drive from the nearest large city. The Red Cross selected this clinic because they had previously done research in the same location involving health and how it related to local water quality. They wanted to add the results of this study with the research they already had done. The Red Cross located the test subjects through advertising on 2 local radio stations. People were asked to come to the clinic in Luka for an examination. Each successive day over the 4-day study period brought more people. The original goal was to treat 200 malaria sufferers with MMS. At the end of the 4th day, we had treated a total of 781 people. However, only 154 had malaria. Of the 154 that tested positive for malaria, 143 were malaria-free 24 hours after having received the MMS treatment. The 11 subjects that still tested positive for malaria on the follow-up day had either not taken the complete treatment dose of MMS or spit it out, so the dose was too low to kill the malaria parasite. These subjects were given a second dose of MMS and carefully watched to ensure they took the complete dose. A subsequent follow-up test showed that they too were now malaria-free.
Malam. So Leo, I'm really very happy because this lady that has just come here, she was extremely bad look yesterday, and we gave her the water purification, the purified water. But I'm very surprised the lady has come here, very normal, jumping, and she's appreciating our services. And she has said, I wish the same continues for other people. And she wishes us so well and success in our endeavors. So I'm happy for that.
Thank you.
The senior doctor provided us with comprehensive results at the completion of the project.
781 patients tested, 154 have malaria, 143 are okay, 11 not okay due to too few drops.
So are you happy with the results, doctor?
Very happy.
Here are some photos highlighting our project with the Red Cross. At the beginning of the 20th century, while modern medicine was being organized, a simultaneous effort was afoot to denigrate and ridicule alternative healing methods. Any natural alternative to modern medicine was automatically called quackery. Even today, after almost 100 years, mainstream medicine, whereas some practices could be defined as criminal, has yet to find a truce with natural healing methods. Fortunately, not everyone is intimidated, and there are those who will stick their neck out for the public good. Jim Humble has served as a good example with his discovery of MMS, a natural water purifier that has demonstrated to have many beneficial health effects. For over 10 years, the Public Welfare Organization has been waging war on MMS by putting scientists in the public light and having them lie about the so-called dangers of MMS. This video now serves as one more piece of proof in the effectiveness of MMS in fighting one of the world's most deadly diseases. The doctors at this African clinic were not being influenced by organized medicine or the pharmaceutical industry and had no preconceived notions or prejudices. They had no idea if these water purification drops would do anything, but on the second day, when the results from the subsequent malaria tests on the majority of subjects were negative, the doctors were shocked and speechless. They had never seen anything like this before. Up until then, malaria was an incurable disease for them. But that's not all. The doctors were even more surprised to find that test subjects suffering from other diseases, which until then would not heal, also became healthy. Since the organized pharmaceutical medical industry does not try to heal people, but rather focuses on covering up symptoms, they have turned into an evil syndicate that is causing unnecessary suffering against all of humanity and should be called to account at the International Court of Justice at The Hague. Now that may seem harsh, but consider the millions of sick people all around the world. The pharmaceutical industry has anchored their claws of influence into every country on the planet, without exception. Wherever you look, you will find a fight against natural remedies and the destruction of ancient medical knowledge over a period of a few years. The reason for this is that you cannot patent natural healing methods, and you can't earn millions of dollars with medicinal herbs. But even worse are those who mindlessly follow the syndicate. They do nothing to verify the information they distribute. They have never done any research of their own and really have no idea of the truth. They just want to have a good life and a good career. Unfortunately, there are many of these followers. They are simply being pulled along into their eventual demise, since they too will eventually get sick. Despite the suffering from many diseases, the majority of humanity is asleep, while putting their faith in misinformed doctors. Today, only those who have the strength and courage to take responsibility for their own health will in the end live a healthy life. We are thrilled that we had the opportunity to work together with the Red Cross on this project. The Red Cross is a serious organization, and their employees and volunteers care about their fellow man. This is an important video in that it can no longer be claimed that Jim Humble's MMS discovery is simply a dangerous bleach and has no place in medicine. Clearly, it is an important tool in the worldwide fight against malaria, including other diseases it has been shown to work on. We can only hope that those who have allowed themselves to be misguided will wake up and rethink their beliefs. My thanks, as always, goes to the man who gave my life a new direction. He gave me opportunity to do something important for mankind. Therefore, this video is dedicated to him, and I can only hope that it provides some support to his important mission. Thank you, Jim.